All right. So let's please introduce yourselves. What teams do you guys play for? What roles do you guys play? And just like a little, little tidbits about you guys.
I'm Steven. I'm a slosher player for Surf and Turf. I play a lot of midline. I've been playing competitive for about 4 years now. Um,
I'm Chrissy. I'm the big balls player for Surf and Turf. Every time I play, you will see me up in everyone's faces. I mostly play V-Shot, but I'm also a Dynamo enthusiast, but meta sucks. Yeah.
All
and you pick new weapons every week.
Shut your mouth. I just picked one up today, so he's making fun of me.
The player.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. And what team were you guys assigned to coach for this event?
Squidokos.
All right. And
I love the team name. It's so cute.
And have you guys heard of the wow. Have you guys heard of the team you coached before, or is this the first time you're like hearing about them?
I've never heard of them before. I actually found out from talking to them. They're very new to comp, like 2 or 3 scrims into comp. So I think that getting in this is helping them a lot.
Yeah, they were put in Div 11 in Ludi because they have 0 results. But we were very surprised when we went in to coach them. They're really good.
Yeah, I guess like what are some of the things you guys thought was what was like one of the unique traits you saw from their team, and just like the different things that like you guys talked about, like any small anecdotes or like fun jokes you guys had.
Something really interesting from them was they have like a Dapple's one trick. I was like, I haven't seen this. And they're really solid. And they like every single game it was like, okay, you guys are getting stronger and stronger and stronger. You got this. And then they started winning and we were like cheering for them while they were playing.
The other thing that's been really enjoyable, especially for Chrissy, that I noticed is they have a V-Shot player. And with Chrissy being a V-Shot player since the start of the game, they connected over that.
They were very cautious in how they played, and I was like, you're good. Just go up in their faces. And Steven was like, no, we're not going to coach them the way that you play. Like, yes, we are.
Well, you were right, because they listened to you when that's when they took the first game of the scrim, so...
Yeah, I mean, wow, I can English today, right?
You're good.
All right, so moving on from a little bit about them. Let's move on to, I guess, like you guys, has anyone on the team, or I guess just you two right now, coached before? Is this like the first time anyone's coached, or have you guys had any experience in that before?
I coached Surf and Turf before joining. I never let Steven forget it.
Yeah. She coached us and then decided that we were like basically her favorite people to play with, and then she just stuck with us as a member, and here we are
And I
now.
still coach them to this day.
I mean, you have the most competitive experience, so you still have a lot to bring. You're the only player that's played in this level before.
I've been playing Splatoon since like December 2015, and nobody else on the team has. So even if it's not necessarily competitive experience, just like gameplay, I have more experience than everyone else.
Yeah.
And we've tried to coach like teams together, but then they always end up going inactive, which has kind of sucked. So this has been a really good opportunity for us to coach together.
I'm really excited we got asked to do this because we've been wanting to find a team to coach for the longest time, and it never works out. It's sometimes very difficult with how much turnover there are with teams in the community, especially newer teams, and how dedicated, and like having them end up staying dedicated. We've wanted a dedicated like newer team to coach for a while, so this has been really exciting.
Yeah, I guess this is more of a question for Christy then. I guess going from, coaching Surf and Turf, obviously, it's like at a bit of a different level, and then coaching like someone who's like brand new to comp, like this team just formed, like you said, they had no results, and like they're extremely fresh into comp. I guess like what were some of like the differences between coaching Surf and Turf and then now coaching this new team?
Yeah, so the way that I coach surf and turf now is like a lot more in depth. Whereas like they're just like since they're so fresh, it's like, okay, you guys want to learn the basics. You guys want to learn to like play together. You guys don't want to go play solo and just rush in and try to get stuff done. Where it's like for surf and turf, it's more like analysis of each map, and it's like how do we use our specials against certain weapons or other specials. So it's like more basics versus more in-depth gameplay, if that makes sense.
Oh, definitely. That makes a lot of sense. Like a lot of the interviews I had already, a lot of them were like they needed to like sort of take a step back in terms of like talking to some of the teams they're coaching, because there might be some things that you already know that you think is pretty like common knowledge compared to like something that they're still learning or not too sure about.
Yeah.
Right. That's why I asked how much experience they had in competitive, because I kind of wanted to get a feel for what kind of coaching they would need.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We're also currently reviewing some games for some of our other friends who are like just getting into comp, and so we kind of know how to approach players who are new into comp, so that kind of helped.
Yeah, that's like, again, coaching is always you're putting on new glasses every time you're working with new people.
Yeah, for sure.
So I guess moving on to just like in coaching in general, it's like, I guess like what's the biggest difference for you being a coach and then being a player, like trying to like switch that mindset?
I don't know if this is weird. I don't personally switch my mindset, but it's also because I'm the shot caller for surf and turf, so it's like the way I speak is different.
Mm-hmm.
Because in game I'm like, okay, this is what we're gonna do, and I'm all quicker and I'm more direct. Whereas when I'm like coaching or like going over something with somebody, it's a lot more in depth, and it's a lot more like explanation of why this works and this doesn't work, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
I don't know if Steven had anything to say. It's okay if you don't.
Yeah, I don't.
All right.
All right. I guess like
I'm
oh
Yeah.
no, go ahead.
I was saying I'm the talker. Don't worry. You can go on.
All right. I guess like when coaching them, what was like, I guess, a struggle or something that the team struggled with like to begin with that you like noticed right away, and then like how did you guys try to tackle that like either struggle or disadvantage that they had?
It was like they started off not really knowing how to play as a team and kind of struggled with when to push up. Sometimes play too passive, sometimes too aggressively, and so we were able to coach them on who should be going with who. By the end, they looked like they were playing really well off of each other, and that's when they started winning or making games really close.
For sure. And like I think again, especially with you guys having a brand new team, I think that's like part of the lesson of comp, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, because like we were watching and it's like, holy crap, they're so good individually, mechanically, but then they go like take a 1v4 and I'm like, that's not how you pick up, wait.
But we were like kind of analyzing their comps, what they wanted to play, and telling them like who should go with who, how they can work off of each other's weapons, and that's where they really improved.
Yeah.
And also how they can work off of each other's specials, because they had the V shot and the dapples. In one of the later games, something that really impressed us is when we were teaching them how to coordinate with specials. We saw the V shot Zuka and the dapples just run up right through it and get a double.
Yeah.
It was huge improvement.
That was awesome.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so like the biggest part was like mainly like probably teaching them coordination, being like probably like vocal. I know that's something a lot of people need to do.
Yes, the callouts are always one of the first things you gotta tackle.
First couple games, it felt like they were talking a bit, but it felt like they didn't know what they were supposed to be calling out at points, like what the priorities were.
Mm-hmm.
And they would like pop specials without calming it, but we taught them how to do all those things, when to calm, and once again they started improving more and more the more they played doing that.
For sure. I guess like what's one thing that you would give someone at their level or like starting out like them, like what's one piece of advice you'd try to like give them as like a coach or just even as a player? It's like, what is that one thing that they need to like focus on to just slowly improve?
Never take fights by yourself. Like, don't take a 1v2 or a 1v3 or a 1v4. I don't care how good you think you are.
And
It's almost always going to end badly. You want to like work with your teammates as much as you can.
Mm-hmm.
And on that note, make sure you know where your teammates are as much as possible so you
Yeah.
can work with them. Because
Yeah.
a lot of the time, I think I had this struggle when I got into combat as well. I had struggled keeping track of where my teammates were, and I would often like not be able to support them properly or whatever because I wouldn't know where they were. So that's a big thing to focus on.
Yeah, we're friends with a team who they're like, well, we don't feel like we can match you guys mechanically, but our coordination is so good that we are able to take games off you. And I was like, yeah, I kind of noticed that. And that's why teamwork is so important, because even if you are still improving mechanically or whatnot, if you work with your teammates, you can still pull it out in the end.
Yeah, of course. And like that's part of what makes like specifically competitive, at least for me. It's like that's what makes it so fun. It's like playing with people and like coordinating, like seeing that like, hey, we're like doing well even though like our mechanics aren't necessarily the best.
Yeah. I mean, like a year ago, we played Minnow Rainmaker and we all fed so much. And Kai was on Dapple's Cooler Beacon, and we made it to gold bracket 5-0 just by doing that. We weren't even getting the kills. And that's the important part, the objective and the team play.
Mm-hmm. All right, I guess on to the last question I have for you guys. Do you think this event helps bridge the gap between skill levels of the community? Like when we were matching teams up, obviously some of the like different skill levels were like looked into, but like just in general, most of the coaching teams were teams that were low ink banned, and most of the teams that were getting coached are teams that are looking to play low ink next week or like, you know, trying to get pretty far in placements. Do you think like having this type of event where like let's say someone from top level would be talking to someone from low level, do you think that sort of helps bridge that gap?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like maybe people who are still low ink eligible might feel a little intimidated talking to people who are DivX 1, 2, 3, even maybe 4. I don't know. But I like even at Div 4, I had somebody message me like, I'm so nervous, but I want to find a coach. Can you help me? So I feel like this kind of event helps people who may not have connections or maybe too nervous to reach out to players who have surpassed that goal that they want to get to. And they can get the help that they need without like having that anxiety or anything, you know?
Yeah. And I think it's especially huge for new players because like when I was a new player, I did not know anything in competitive.
You
I
didn't know what
a
a scrim was.
I
had to tell him what a
I
scrim
didn't know what
was.
a scrim was for 4 months. I would go into a PB with my team, which had 8 members at the time, by the way, because I didn't know how big it could be. And we would just form before each other, and that would be our practice. So, like, for these newer teams especially, I think having access to resources of people that, even outside of the game, are knowledgeable about comp and what you should be doing is very helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Like a lot of people I was talking to, it's like when I got into comp, like low level, and then if I ever met someone who was like, let's say even Div 4 or Div, I mean, honestly, Div 5 at the time, I was like, oh my God, you're so cool. I like, how am I supposed to talk to you, right? And it's like, and it's like, you know, like, especially when you're new, you're just like, how do I even talk to these people? Like, they're just gonna ignore me or something like that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Div 5s were like the most terrifying thing for the longest time. It was like, I don't know how to talk to these people, and if I'm gonna play them in tournament, I'm gonna get 3-0. What do I do? Help.
No, for real. It's like sometimes, like, I was literally just like, who are these people? How do I, like, get to know them? Like, how do I get advice from them? And it's like, I think most of the time, too, it's like, all these people from like higher divs or like higher level, they're all really open to helping new people, or like, if you ask them any questions, like they'll answer them for you.
Yeah, I feel like it's a kind of like a misconception, not in a negative way. It's just like they think, oh, they're like so good at the game, they're not going to talk to me. When in reality, it's the opposite because so many people at that level are so helpful.
I think the other misconception comes in because a lot of the really famous players at top level might not respond to everything because they get so many inquiries. I know Chara is in that situation, which is also because he's so known in the community. So people think, oh, well, this person won't respond to my messages, so it's probably all top level players, even though it's not true. And it's just because that person is so known that they're overwhelmed.
Yeah, I think even Gus from Octopi has even mentioned like he gets so many messages that he just can't answer them all. And so that this event kind of helps with that too, like you can kind of like spread out who's helping instead of having it all come on like one well-known person or like a few well-known people.
For sure. And like, again, it's like sometimes I've talked to like top level, they're like, why would I watch low ink? I like who's there to watch? Well, like here's a team that you can coach, and like later on you can watch them in low ink. You can cheer for them to like, if they make alpha bracket, they get the chance to win low ink, and you can like give them as much support as you can.
Yes, I love that. I've always wanted to have a team to cheer for. Now that I'm finally low ink banned.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of our friends got low ink banned with us, so it was like, who are we gonna root for in low level now? And well, here's a team that we can root for.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I guess that's all the questions I have for you guys. But is there like any last minute things you want to say or like talk about in terms of like either like new people coming into comp or just like coaching in general?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Steven just pointed at me, put me on the spot. Damn it. Well, I think the most important thing to remember is that like people all improve at different rates. I've seen quite a few people on Twitter, whatnot, talk about how they're so disappointed because they thought that they would do better than they did, and sometimes that happens. Sometimes we have bad days or bad tournaments, and like a month ago or 2 months ago or something, we got a Mako bracket in SOS and got out round 1, and we were like, oh man, we suck. But that's not actually the case. We just had a bad day, and it happens. And sometimes improvement isn't, it almost is never overnight. And if improvement is overnight, it's like a very, very rare case. Like our teammate Kai can do literally anything in a moment's notice, and it's like, how are you this good? But most people don't function like that, and I think that's always the most important thing to remember, is that it's always going to take time.
Yeah, and it's especially hard to measure improvement sometimes because like you have those tournaments like that Mako bracket SOS where it's like, oh man, do we suck? And then we went into Super Jump the next weekend and we popped off and finished like I think we tied for third on the first day.
Yeah.
In beta. So like, you don't know. Like it's not linear.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I know like some people try to like, again, good example, Octopi. But it's like, they won LSL like not even like 5, maybe 6 months ago. And then
6.
Yeah, somewhere around there. But like, yeah, you see them like they're Div 1 now, but like obviously that took them time, and like people on their team like dedicated a lot of time into this game too. But it's like not everyone is gonna be like Octopi. Like
exactly.
Yeah.
And one of the big challenges with improving as well, and I think it kind of feeds into the oh no, we suck when we do badly thing, is because I've seen Octopi talk about this. Like they'll lose to like a team that maybe people think they shouldn't lose to, and then suddenly everyone's jumping on it and it's like, it was one loss, chill out.
The
right?
amount of people I saw saying Octopi is washed, and I'm like, it's one turn.
It's one set in one tournament.
Yeah.
Calm down. Like if the team that they played against say they lose to Div 2, then they're very good in their own right too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. For sure. I guess like that's all I have, and thank you guys for your time. Like,
of course.
I guess like where can like people find you? Where's like maybe just the team and you guys in general as well?
surfandturf_SPL on twitter.com/x.com.
And all of our accounts are linked. Everyone on the team's accounts linked to that.
Yep.
Let's hope they don't make the mistake like SOS. Wrong, not that surf and turf.
Oh,
my
yeah.
god, I was dying.
I had to go to help desk. I was like, wait, that's the wrong one.
Listen, I wasn't gonna care too much about it, but then I clicked the account and I'm like, I am not having people associate us with this. I'm out.
All right.